going on, everybody? It's Stas here. Welcome back to another video. So the stock market was all over the place today, guys. S&P 500 down 0.1%, Dow Jones down 0.2%, and the Nasdaq 100 went up 0.3% as the Russell 2000 led the way up over 1% on the day. And today we're going to be talking more about the stock market, breaking down some technicals, going over a bunch of stocks to buy now, and I also want to share with you guys what stocks I own, what moves have I been making in the stock market, and in general where my head is at as a trader and as an investor. So if you guys find value, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, join the free Discord chat and Facebook group link down below, and don't forget to claim your 4 free stocks from WeBull, which, by the way, guys, does run out here in the next couple of days, and all those again are free and linked right down below. So let's talk. S&P 500 went down 0.1% today, and I want to show you guys something very key that occurred today earlier in the day. The S&P actually sold off and we hit exactly on the dot, 36.45. And if you guys have been watching my videos, I've been talking about this level of old resistance, and I was talking about how it's very important for the S&P to actually hold that as support during this little pull down that we're in. And I know it's not a vast pull down, it's not a massive correction. We're only down 1 or 2%, if that, right? But I told you guys, for this uptrend to continue, we must hold 36.45, right? That was the old all-time high from earlier in November. You can see we struggled there all of November, right? And the fact that we pulled down today and we held it on the dot as support and we rallied for the rest of the day, and we've been consolidating above it all day, and we actually broke out heading into power hour, that's a pretty good sign, right? It's not a 100% confirmation that we're going to fly back up now, but it's also telling us that we're not going down either. We're kind of in a middle phase right now, some consolidation before we end up picking overall direction. So for tomorrow, what am I looking at, right? I'm going to look at 36.45, it needs to hold, right? So as long as we're above that point, and honestly above 36.60 as well, which we held earlier today, and we double bottomed there yesterday into the close. You guys can see we double bottomed, and we broke out. As long as we hold 36.60 and 36.45, I think we're going higher here in the S&P. But like I said, we haven't shown the confirmation quite yet. And what would the confirmation be that we're going to be going higher? I think 36.80 needs to break, right? That's where we struggled yesterday, 36.75, 36.80, and today, if I go on this intraday chart, you guys can see S&P struggled at 36.80 once, 2, 3 times today, and earlier later in the day, rather, right before the market closed, we hit right around 36.75, 36.80, and we sold off. So I think if we break 36.80, this could be off to the races, back up to all-time highs, right? Giving it a good amount of potential here. Nothing crazy, but we're talking like 1%, 1.5% upside, I think, if 36.80 can break. So watch 36.80, watch 36.60 and 36.45 on the downside. And overall, this 180 or this 4-hour 50 SMA, this green line here, this is also a big level of support. So watch those levels. And when it comes down to SPY, which is an ETF that tracks the S&P, you have to watch 366, right? We're holding 366 right now. That was a resistance back in the month of November. Once here, twice. We got rejected there multiple times in November. And the fact that we're holding it right now at a higher low, we closed above it too, that's a pretty good sign. But like the SPX index, this is very similar since it tracks the S&P, right? We haven't fully broken out yet, right? We're consolidating right around 366, which is great, but we have to pick direction. And I think once we break 368, that is where we might see a bunch of upside potential here on SPY, maybe back up to 369, 370, 371. That's kind of where I think it could get to if we break out of 368. So that's the S&P, SPY, some key levels there to take a look at. Dow Jones Industrial Average, guys, I know my technicals, my drawings here are a bit sloppy, but bear with me. What I'm personally looking at here is we're struggling under 3,100, right? 30,100. Not 3,100, 30,100. 100, right? That is where we struggled back in November and the beginning of December as well. Literally last week we were struggling there, and we broke out of it, hit the all-time high yesterday at 3,300. And now we're trading back under it. So the uptrend on the Dow is still intact, honestly. If I redraw this, you can see it for yourselves. As long as we hold 29,900, it's still intact, and we closed above that today. We actually almost closed at 30,000 flat. So take a look. This could be an ascending triangle on the Dow Jones, right? We're uptrending into the resistance at about 30,000 to 30,100. So I think it could burst out of there ultimately as long as we hold the uptrend and squeeze out. So we have to see how that ends up going down. But at this point, the ascending triangle is looking like it is setting up. And when it comes down to the Nasdaq 100, guys, this one, if it wants to load, come on. There it goes, guys. This one hit an all-time high on Friday. Or no, not Friday, guys. I'm mixing up my days. Jesus, it's Thursday right now. That was what? On Tuesday, it hit an all-time high at 12,600. Wednesday, yesterday, it collapsed down. And today, we actually held, what? 12,200, which I talked about yesterday. That's a big level of support for it to hold, right? Right around that 180 SMA on the hourly chart. So we held that. We broke out of 12,300 resistance from back in the end of November. And now we're huddling and consolidating right between this little 200, 300 point window, right? Between 12,300 and about 12,500, 12,600. So I think this is a good sign that we're consolidating, obviously, and looking for the next move, but we haven't broken out quite yet. So what would indicate a breakout on the Nasdaq 100? I think if we ended up taking out 12,450, that's where we struggled right before the market closed today, earlier in the day as well. So I think if 12,450 breaks, watch out for the Nasdaq 100 to head higher. And the Russell 2000, this thing keeps on going, guys. When you look at the 4-hour chart, this, in my opinion, is screaming for a pull down. I think a healthy spot for the Russell to come to is about 1650, 1700. Call me crazy, but that's what I think. And the next time we do get a stock market correction, I'm not sure if we're going to get that in the next couple of weeks here, but I think we'll get one in 2021 at some point. I think the Russell's going to come back down to that point, whether it gets to 2,000 first and then maybe pulls down to 1,700, or let's say it hits 1950, then pulls down to 1,650. Either way, I think we are going to see some sort of correction here for it to cool off a bit. And yeah, I think that is likely to happen. I'd love to know your thoughts on everything down below in the comments. If you agree with me, disagree with me. If you guys are enjoying the video, hit that like button. Again, let me know any thoughts you have down below. So what did I personally do today? Well, I locked in some profits on one stock, and I actually day traded the hottest stock on the market today. I kind of got lucky. I'll be honest. I got lucky here. I ended up getting in and out perfectly, and we'll talk about that now. That's in AirBNB, guys. ABNB. It happened so quick that I couldn't even talk about it in the chat, guys. That's how quick this move occurred, right? We saw this open up $145. Originally, we'll talk about Airbnb later on in the video, but originally it was priced at $68, right? So it opened up at $145, and right off the bat, we started to see this thing fly up, right? It opened up at $145, started kicking up into the 150s, and then I actually ended up buying into a position here on the momentum at about $154. Actually, no, exactly at $154.30. I set a limit order, which with stocks moving aggressively that just IPO'd, I think limit orders are very smart, so you don't get filled at a random price on a market order. If you guys used a market order and you wanted to get in at 154, for all you know, you could have filled at 157, right? That's how quick and very, very rapid this type of stock moves. So I put a market order at 154.30, and you guys can see what happened, right? This thing exploded, and I actually ended up timing it perfectly. Again, this doesn't happen all the time. It actually not rarely happens. Sometimes you can time it perfectly, but more times than not, it's not perfectly timed. But today was a day where I timed it perfectly, right? 154.30. I ended up getting out at 163.30, guys. So this was a pretty big move, almost about $10 of share value there in the span. I'm talking minutes, guys. This was minutes. It was about a 5% gain. And then all of a sudden, again, like I said, I timed it perfectly. I don't have a crystal ball, but today was one of those days. Right after I got out, it topped at about 165, and then boom, massive sell candle. And then you guys can see it ended up falling all the way down to 141 was the low of the day here. And now it's trading right around 144 in the aftermarket hours, but still, it's up 112%. It went up 112% on the day. So just because it went down from 165 to 141, that doesn't mean it didn't have a good day, because it was up 112% on the day, and I was able to grab 5% of that on that little day trade. And I also ended up selling a little bit, half of my position in EA, and I had this stock for weeks at this point, and I actually held it through a little bit of pain. You guys know that. I was in originally at about $132, watched it go down to about $113. I did not add more to it. And initially, it wasn't that big of a position, so I didn't feel terrible holding on to it. And again, like I mentioned, when I first got into it, it was a longer-term swing trade. And at this point in time, I actually locked a little bit in. I think even though the trend is reversing, no doubt about it, I think it's getting a bit overbought. I think it needs a cool down, right? Today we actually broke out of 133, 134, which is that big resistance I've been talking about. So I wanted to just lock in a little bit as we got through there. I actually locked in at 134.60, half of my position. And I think we might end up maybe consolidating at 133 for a couple days, or maybe go higher. But I think it's likely that we pull down maybe to 127, 128, maybe 130 again. Healthy pull down, bring that RSI down a bit. And then from there, maybe I can add more into it, if that makes any sense. But I wanted to just lock in the profit, to lock in some profits, because nobody went broke locking in profits. And that's what I personally did today, guys. EA sold a little bit, ABNB in and out on that one. I did not buy shares for the long term, and I'll talk about that later on in this video. I didn't buy shares quite yet. And I'm also still in Alibaba. I'm still in Workhorse, guys. Excuse me there. Oh, man. Still in Workhorse, which did pretty decent today, up 0.5%. Apple is another one that I'm still in, up 1.2%. Apple did well. I like the way it held this old resistance at 121 today. We saw a nice pop out of there. That's a good sign that Apple wants to go higher. And SLV is kind of my hedge play. This is a silver ETF. I'm holding on to this one. And that's what I'm doing, guys. You know, silver, Apple, Workhorse, and Alibaba, and EA, those are my main swing trades right now. And AirBNB was a quick in and out type of day trade. So let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. I would love to know what you guys are up to. What moves did you make today? Did you buy AirBNB? Please let me know. I'm very interested. Did you buy AirBNB? Did you day trade AirBNB? Let me know your thoughts down below. So now we're going to talk about these 10 stocks that I'm looking to buy right now. And the first one is AirBNB, so we might as well just go back to it, right? AirBNB, ABNB, like I said earlier, it was IPO'd, or the price originally was set at $68. Well, it opened up at $145, and you guys saw what happened. It went up to $165, pulled down to $141, and we saw a potential of a second rally, right? We saw a second rally try and come about, but it didn't, obviously, guys, right? It went from 141 back to 150, kind of topped at about 150, and then dumped off into the close. So for tomorrow, and honestly, guys, there's not much, obviously, data here for us to draw out technicals and do a full-on analysis, but for tomorrow, kind of what I'm looking for is if it's going to stay in this range between 140 and 150, right? That's kind of where it is right now, other than that spike above 160. I'm kind of just looking to see if it stays in this range, 140 to about 150, right? I think if we hold 140, maybe we can get a bounce back play to 150. If 150 breaks, maybe a move back up higher 150s, maybe back into the 160s. And who knows what's going to happen, guys? This is a fresh IPO. It literally just came to the market. Literally anything could happen. And for me, long term, I'm not looking to buy quite yet. I'm looking to see if we get a pull down. Maybe I can add a little bit, but that runs a bit of risk because if we never do get a pull down and this thing just rockets back up, let's say over 200, $210, who knows? I'm not saying it's going to go there. I'm just playing hypothetically here. I might never get in, and that's kind of something that is a bit worrisome because this is a company that I do want to own. I think there is potential, but you guys have to realize the companies out there, they all have price tags attached to them, and you have to understand, okay, is Airbnb's price tag too expensive? Or is it a good deal? And I'm not at the point where I think it's at the best of a deal quite yet. And that's arguable. Let me know your thoughts. But yeah, that's kind of my thoughts right now on Airbnb. I'm giving it some wiggle room, probably a couple weeks before I maybe take a position there. And DoorDash, this is another one that IPO'd yesterday. Today it went down 2%. Earlier in the day it was down even more, but you guys can see it saw a big rally into the close of the market. And like Airbnb, we don't have much data here with DoorDash. We don't have any really, only 2 days of data. So we can't really draw out full technicals. But what we do see here on the little technicals data that we do have is on this 2-day period, we're in this downward channel, right? We've been holding it perfectly, hitting higher highs, lower lows, or not really higher highs, lower highs and lower lows within the channel. And what we notice here at the end of the market, literally 40 minutes left into the market, this thing broke out of the channel. So this is pretty bullish, right? With the little data that we have, guys, this is pretty bullish. So I'm looking to see, okay, is DoorDash going to break out of maybe 185? That's a resistance from after market hours yesterday. If so, maybe a move back into the 190s. Maybe a move to take out that high when it first IPO'd yesterday at about 195, right? And out of all the stocks we're talking today, Dash, I'm a bit skeptical. Same with Airbnb because they just came to market, but you guys have to realize there could be some more hype left in the tank for them. There could be some more upside momentum. And yeah, if 185 breaks, 190 comes, 195 could be the next target. So watch out for DoorDash. Blink is another one, BLNK. Blink Charging. This is one on the 4-hour chart that's looking pretty bullish. Let me show you guys what I'm seeing here. So if I extend this to the right, you guys can see, okay, Blink ended up popping up. That was probably on Monday, right? Is that Monday? Yeah, it popped up on Monday. We broke out of 26. That was a big resistance. We filled the gap up to about $30, which was also a resistance from the end of November, right? So we filled the gap up there. We double topped at about $30, right? We sold off, and then we actually held yet again 26 as a new support, and today we rallied up off of $26, up 6% on the day, up $1.65. So this one is on the verge of breaking out, right? I think the second it takes out $30, which I'm going to set on alert right now on Blink Energy, let's just put it at, or not Energy, Blink Charging. I'm going to put it at $30.25. So I think if it breaks 30 into 30.25, then it's going to be pushing back into the mid-30s, maybe back up to the high 30s, you guys, as we saw it get to $38 a couple weeks ago. So, yeah, and another thing here worth mentioning, I guess you can say, is the Head and Shoulder, which honestly is slowly breaking out of the Head and Shoulder, which is looking bullish. But what I'm seeing that could be a Head and Shoulder, which again, it's slowly forming not to be since the right shoulder is breaking out. But what we see here is left shoulder, right? We have the head here. We have the neckline at about 26.40, which held, the past couple of days, right? That's the neckline. And the head or the right shoulder would have been this right here, what happened today, if we were to sell off, right? But what you notice is we didn't sell off into the close, which would have been the completion of the right shoulder, which would have been pretty bearish. We actually broke out into the close. So that's a sign that the right shoulder doesn't want to form and wants to break out. So we could be testing $30 again tomorrow. So if 30 breaks, guys, the moral of the story is watch out above. I think Blink's going to be going higher. I've been getting a lot of questions on Zoom, ticker symbol ZM. We actually had a big, maybe a short squeeze today. We saw a big spike from 378 to about 400 in the matter of minutes, right? That was about a 4% move. Nothing crazy, but still pretty sizable move there. And what we're noticing on Zoom on the 4-hour chart is we're still in this overall wedge, right? We've been in this for a couple weeks at this point. We've been making lower highs and higher lows into this wedge, and we've been bearish overall. Honestly, the stock hasn't been great for the bulls out there, and it makes sense because it's gone up so much from $100 to $600 in about 6 months. Now it coming down from 600 to about 400. It's reasonable because again, it's up a ton. It's still up about 400% in the past couple months, despite it pulling down. And I'm looking at this to potentially hold right around 376, 380. I mean, it already held it, but I want to see if we're going to see a further rally off this low, maybe back above 415. That's a big resistance point coming up. Above 415, we have 440, and that would be putting us towards the top of this wedge, the resistance of the wedge. If we break out of there, that could be an indication that the trend is slowly changing to the upside, right? More bullish momentum could be coming. But at this point, we just have to see if 380, 400 could break and hold, that is. And again, I think 415, 440 could be coming after that, as Zoom honestly is still being used a lot and is still growing at this point as we still see this crisis, the CV, closing down everything pretty much left and right, and many places around the world still. You know, schools are going remote. Jobs are still remote. Universities remote for the most part, right? So watch out for Zoom. I don't think this story is over quite yet. I think there is some upside still, so keep an eye on that. Upwork, UPWK is another one here that's been ripping. If you guys have been following my channel for a couple months, you know that I was calling out Upwork in the $14, $15, $16, $17 level, all around these points here, and especially back when it actually reported earnings 2 quarters ago, we covered it, right? It went from $8 to $14, hovering about 11. They reported earnings again, spiked up, and now we're noticing an ascending triangle kind of on Upwork. We're seeing big resistance at about $36, $37. We've pulled down. We're actually uptrending into that resistance, higher lows into that resistance point, and today we went up about 2%. We actually tested the support at about $32.50. We rallied up, closed above $34, and I think this could be gunning for $37 again. If it breaks 37, I think it can make its move up to maybe $40. So watch out for Upwork. There's a lot of momentum. It's going to squeeze up higher in my personal opinion. And Tesla's another one, guys, that's been funky. It hit 670 a couple days ago, and then yesterday we saw a pretty big sell-off in Tesla. It dropped about 9-10%, 8-9-10%. And it was down pre-market today, but it ended up squeezing back up over a key resistance at 600. We actually broke out of another resistance at 620. We closed at 627. So this is looking pretty decent, I'd say, but I still wouldn't chase Tesla right now, to be honest, right? I think the time to get in would have been this morning at 560, 575, 580, 590, and I personally didn't get in at that point, so I wouldn't be chasing it here. You guys can see we are at a point of resistance on this 5-day 5 minutes, so watch out for this breakout. I mean, if we break out of 630, 640, maybe we make a move to 650, 660, but again, I'm not looking to chase it, right? AMD is another one here, Advanced Micro Devices, which is down a couple bucks from its high recently at about $96. We got hit at 96. We pulled down pretty aggressively since then. We're down about 6% from that point. Actually, no, it's at $91, so we're down about more like 4%. But it seems like AMD ended up holding 88 bucks. Old resistance has a new support. We popped up above it, up 2% today, uptrended pretty much all day. So I think AMD has a good shot of gunning gunning for those $94, $96 levels again. And I mean, I'm looking for it, right? This is another potential ascending triangle, especially if we break out of 95. That could be a lot of breakout potential there. And NNDM, I've been getting a bunch of questions on this. I cut my losses on this one yesterday, and I'm glad I did that because today it went down another 3+%, right? What we notice here on NMD is it's still trading in this uptrend channel, but we're seeing a potential head and shoulder forming, right? Left shoulder head, right shoulder here. And if we end up dumping down, which would be very detrimental for the trend, that would be the completion of this head and shoulder. We might be seeing mid $5 price target on NNMD, maybe low $6 if this right shoulder completes. But the thing here is, guys, it didn't fully break the uptrend quite yet. I think if we can gap out of this, the uptrend will be saved, right? But it really depends on what happens here at about 650 on I can't even pronounce it, guys. NNDM. Jeez, guys, jeez. But yeah, above 650, watch for that move. If we end up getting out of this right shoulder, there could be upside there. Chewy is another one, CHWY, which ended up going up today about 3.3%. We see Chewy is gunning for that $83 level. That is where it was after, was that before or after reported earnings? Either way, it was right around earnings. It got up to there. And as long as it's over $75, which I've mentioned before, I'm bullish on this stock, right? I think that's the uptrend still intact, and we actually just broke out today above 78.30. Although we didn't close above it, we did break it. So for tomorrow, watch for a full break above and a close potentially above $78 to $80. That could be okay. That could be indicating, okay, we might be going up to those 80, 83 levels again. So watch Chewy. And the last one here is JMIA, which ended up going up 13% today. We filled the entire gap within this uptrend channel here. So at this point, maybe we pulled down. So this could be a short opportunity in the short term, at least. Maybe a put option in the short term if it ends up going back to the low 30s. Or if it breaks out of this uptrend here, this uptrend channel, which could also happen, we could be going straight to the 40s, right? As that would be a very bullish, trend change, if that's even a saying, right? If it's not, I just made it up, guys. But overall, JMIA is looking good. A lot of these are looking pretty solid. And that's my list for today, guys. I hope you all enjoyed the video. If you did, hit that like button. Let's try to get 400 likes on this video. Subscribe to the channel. We're so close to 20,000. And make sure to claim your 4 free stocks from WeBull, which are valued up to $1,600. All you have to do is deposit $100, and you literally get 4 free stocks. So I'll catch you all in the next video. Again, check out all the free links down below. Thanks for watching as always. I hope you all crush the market. Stay safe out there. Have a great day. Peace out.